9 years ago, I went on my very first overnight backpacking trip. And let me tell you, it was kind of a disaster. My pack was way too heavy, I had no clue how to use any of my gear, and I grabbed random freeze-dried meals the morning of the trip. I didn't have a map, I didn't check the trail, and fun fact, I had no idea where we were going. Our plan? At a local coffee shop, my friend laid out a paper map, had me close my eyes, and put my finger somewhere on the map. Wherever it landed, that's where we were headed. We had hoped to escape the rain, but instead we got rained on, hailed on, snowed on, and blasted by wind. On day 2, we got lost on our short day hike because the whole area was socked in with fog and neither one of us had brought a map. Why am I sharing this? Because being new to backpacking doesn't mean your first trip has to be a disaster. You don't have to learn the hard way like I did. Hey, I'm Kathleen, a food-motivated hiker, solo backpacker, backpacking coach for women, and the hungry hiker here on YouTube. In this video, I'm sharing 10 beginner backpacking mistakes that can ruin your trip and how to avoid them. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what not to do and how to set up yourself for an amazing first trip instead of being cold, wet, and miserable like I was. And don't worry, I made almost all of these mistakes on my first trip, so you can learn from them without having to suffer through each one of these yourself. If you're excited for this video, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe for new videos each week about hiking, backpacking, and tips on how you can plan your next outdoor adventure. Let's start with mistake number 1, bringing gear you don't know how to use. On my very first backpacking trip, my pack was full of borrowed gear and I honestly had no clue how to use any of it. I never set up a tent, inflated a sleeping pad, used a water filter, or boiled water on a backpacking stove. And if I'm being completely honest, I was kind of terrified to light that stove. I thought it might explode. I had a lot of anxiety about the gear in my pack because it wasn't mine and I didn't know how it all worked. Thankfully, my friend on the trip helped me out and showed me the ropes. And no, the stove didn't blow up on either one of us. Struggling with unfamiliar gear can turn any trip into a nightmare. To build your confidence, I recommend practicing with all of your gear at home first before you hit the trail. Set up your tent in your backyard or a local park. Inflate your sleeping pad in your living room. Test your water filter so you know how it works. And practice boiling a pot of water on your backpacking stove in your kitchen. The more familiar you are with your gear, the more confident you'll feel on trail and the more enjoyable your trip will be. Another common mistake beginner backpackers make is packing way too much. I get it, you don't want to be unprepared, but letting fear guide your packing can backfire, leaving you carrying far more weight than you need. For my first backpacking trip, I bought an 80-liter pack because I wanted to make sure I had room for everything I might need. What I didn't realize, a bigger pack equals a heavier pack. And honestly, when it comes to backpacking, you really don't need that much stuff. Carrying too much weight will make your trip exhausting before it even begins. Stick to the essentials and practice packing at home. I even created a backpacking gear packing list, which I'll link in the description below, so you can download it for free and use it the next time you're packing for a trip. When I first started backpacking, I'd bring multiple outfits to hike in. In reality, you only need one outfit to hike in. You're gonna get dirty anyway. Now, the only clothing I pack in multiples are underwear and socks. Here's a simple approach. Lay out everything you plan to bring. Then go through your gear piece by piece and ask yourself, do I really need this? Once you've done the gear layout and gut check, practice packing your pack at home to make sure everything fits comfortably. Trust me, your back will thank you once you're out on trail. Mistake number 3 is wearing the wrong footwear. Trust me, nothing ruins a backpacking trip faster than painful blisters or sore feet. A lot of beginner backpackers think the heavier the boots, the better the protection. But if your boots don't fit well or aren't broken in, they will torture you instead. When choosing shoes, consider your hiking style, the season, the terrain, and the distance you'll cover. For dry, warm weather, I usually hike in trail runners. They're comfortable, lightweight, breathable, and dry fast. In colder, wet, muddy, or icy conditions, I switch to a lightweight, waterproof hiking shoe with more ankle support. And if you do go with a traditional hiking boot, make sure you break them in on shorter hikes before taking them on a big backpacking trip. Your feet and your trip will thank you. Mistake number 4 is skipping physical prep, not training for your backpacking trip. The trail is not the place to start training. Even short day hikes with a loaded pack can be tough. so a little preparation goes a long way. A few weeks before your trip, get out on practice hikes, stairs, or walks with your pack throughout your neighborhood to build stamina and get your body used to the weight. Personally, I like to stay consistent with year-round training, even through the winter, so I'm not starting from scratch when the backpacking season begins. My routine includes strength training, yoga, and training hikes with my pack, all focused on building the muscles, balance, and endurance I need to enjoy hiking safely in any conditions. If you want a deeper dive into how I train for winter hiking, check out my How to Prepare for Hiking in the Winter video, which I'll link up here and down the video description below. It's packed with tips you can apply to any season. And if you're looking for a structured program specifically designed for hikers and backpackers, my Ready Set Hike program inside the Confident Solo Female Backpacker system is an 8-week program you can do at home or in the gym to get physically prepared for your hiking and backpacking season. Another big mistake I see beginner backpackers make, and one I definitely made on my first trip, is ignoring weather and trail conditions. When I went on my first backpacking trip, we didn't even know exactly where we were going. The only plan we had was to get out of town and try to escape the rain. But the weather ended up following us and getting worse. We got rain, hail, and even snow, and we were completely unprepared. Because we hadn't decided on a destination ahead of time, we never thought to check trip reports or find out what the current trail conditions were like. Beginners often skip this step, but it's one of the most important parts of trip planning. Failing to check for things like muddy or icy trails, downed trees, washed out sections, limited parking at the trailhead, or nearby wildfires can turn a fun adventure into a miserable one fast. Before you leave home, always check the weather forecast and read recent trip reports for the area you plan on going hiking in. Knowing what to expect helps you adjust your route, timing, or even plan all together so that you can stay safe and actually enjoy your trip. And even if you do check the weather before your trip, it won't matter much if you're not actually prepared for what those conditions might bring. So another mistake that can quickly ruin a trip is not being prepared for cold or bad weather. On my very first backpacking trip, we thought we were escaping the rain, but instead we got rained on, hailed on, and snowed on. I had no idea how to stay dry or warm, and I definitely didn't have the right gear or clothing for those kinds of conditions. That experience taught me that weather in the mountains can change fast, and it's always better to be prepared for the worst than to hope for the best. If the forecast is calling for rain, wind, or snow, bring the right layers and rain gear. Pack clothing that keeps you warm and dry, and learn how to layer effectively so you can adjust as conditions change throughout the day. Even if it looks nice when you start your hike, weather in the mountains can turn quickly, especially at higher elevations. Staying ready for anything can be the difference between a miserable trip and a fun adventure. Another big mistake I see beginner backpackers make is not planning their trip in enough detail. On my very first backpacking trip, we didn't even know exactly where we were going. Our plan was, well, there wasn't really a plan. We packed up our gear, picked a spot on the map at a coffee shop, and hoped for the best. The result? Cold, wet, exhausted, and even a little lost on day 2. Not exactly the relaxing adventure we were hoping for. To avoid that, break your trip up into manageable days. Plan your daily mileage and elevation, schedule breaks, and have an idea in mind on where you want to camp each night. Having a clear plan helps you pace yourself, conserve energy, and reduce stress so you can focus on enjoying the trail instead of scrambling to figure out where you're going. Getting lost is scary and completely avoidable. Always carry a paper map or download a map of the area you plan on hiking in on your phone using a navigation app like Onyx Backcountry or Guide GPS, and know how to use them. Even a short day hike can go wrong without a plan. On my first backpacking trip, we had a paper map, the very same one we used to randomly pick our destination at a coffee shop. But we didn't have any maps downloaded on our phones using navigation apps like Guide GPS or Onyx Backcountry. On day 2, we decided to leave camp and explore the area as the fog had rolled in, and we ended up losing the trail and getting turned around. It was stressful and honestly a little scary. That experience taught me a really important lesson. Always have a navigation plan. Now, whenever I go out in the backcountry, I make sure I have a map of the area downloaded on my phone and have a paper map of the area as a backup. Having a map, whether it's paper or digital, can make all the difference between a safe, fun adventure and a potentially dangerous situation. Not having enough food or bringing meals you don't actually like can turn a fun trip into a miserable one. On my very first backpacking trip, I had no idea how much food we'd need or what would actually work for an overnight trip. Being a food-motivated hiker, I was excited to try anything that sounded good. So we made a last-minute pit stop at a local REI before heading out of town, and I bought whatever caught my eye. Let's just say not all of that was a hit, and I learned quickly that not planning your food properly can really affect your trip. To avoid this, plan for easy-to-cook meals and always bring extra snacks. Test your meals and snacks at home before committing them to your food bag. That way, you know what you like, what fuels you, and what's easy to prepare out on trail. And finally, one of the biggest mistakes I see beginner backpackers make is letting doubt and worry stop them from getting to the trailhead. Confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from taking that first step and learning along the way. On my first backpacking trip, I had no clue what I was doing, and honestly, I was scared. But I took the step anyway, learned as I went, and it built the foundation for every trip I've gone on since. To avoid letting fear hold you back, educate yourself, practice your skills, and start small. Each hike or overnight trip is an opportunity to build confidence one step at a time. And before you know it, you'll feel empowered, capable, and ready to tackle the backcountry solo or with friends. And there you have it, 10 beginner backpacking mistakes and how to avoid them. Now you know what not to do on your first or next trip and how to set yourself up for a safe, fun, and confident adventure out on trail. If you're ready to feel confident planning your backpacking trips, I can help you. Click the link down the video description below to book a free one-on-one enrollment call with me and learn more about my program, the Confident Solo Female Backpacker System. This program is designed to help women like you plan, prepare, and enjoy your backpacking adventures with confidence without the stress and overwhelm I experienced on my first trip. And if you want more tips, make sure to check out this video, 10 Mistakes Most Beginner Hikers Make. It's packed with practical advice to help keep you feeling safe and confident out on trail. If you like this video and got some value out of it, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for new videos each week and hit that bell icon to get notified each time new videos are posted. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy trails and keep on trucking.